Sweet friends, how do you do today? And how do you woo today? And how do you woo you today? Welcome to How to Woo, a podcast on love and making love so we can make sure we're making lives we love. I am your host, Luna Robbie. I am a multi-artist and creative guide obsessed with learning about life, especially from other humans direct, because we all have our own unique perspective and wisdom. So here we are again for some deep listening and a little vicrophilia so we can stay excited about life and co-create a world where taking care of each other is the norm. Let's dive in. Our guest today is a 32-year-old straight-ish, hetero-flexible female of international origins who loves getting to know new people, conversation, delving into the psychological, emotional, and even spiritual depths of human connection, spending lots of time with partners, initiating the inexperienced, playing with her lady friends, role play with recent experiences, including multiple rounds of being a mermaid. She is a real-life siren, and creating safe spaces full of acceptance that support the self-discovery, independence, confidence, and overall well-being of her partners. An elite courtesan who travels to Sherry's Ranch, a legal brothel just outside Las Vegas a few times a year from across the world. Welcome, Kaylani!
Hey, I'm so happy to be here.
I am so excited to introduce you to my sweet, sweet audience. Everyone, you're in for a treat. I happen to know Kaylani just a little bit. And, sweet friend, could you please start out by telling us if you had to rate yourself on a sexual shame-o-meter today, right now, with 10 being so full of shame and 0 being like, I don't know what you're talking about, where do you fall at this moment?
I would say 0. I don't know what you're talking about because I know the value that I bring to the table. So I feel like society has so many outdated beliefs about intimacy, but those who truly know me understand how much intention I bring and with everything I do. And I feel like honestly, this is about power, confidence, control, even in my own kind of way. So yeah, absolutely no shame.
I fucking love that. Were you always a 0, or is that something that you had to, like, become over the years, and how did you do it?
Wow, really good question. Definitely not always a 0. Starting actually, I would say it was higher up, possibly closer to 10. And it took some time for me to really feel comfortable with this. And I think what made me realize is that, everybody has different opinions, and you can be Mother Teresa and people will still hate you. And who cares what other people think? I know what I do, I know the thoughts behind my actions. I'm with myself every single day. I'm in my mind every single day, 100% of the time. And I know that I'm not harming anybody, that I don't have any malicious intentions behind anything that I do. And I feel like as long as it's two adults agreeing to something, then so be it. Like, who cares what other people think? And I truly do believe that this type of work, we have therapists for our physical health, right? We have therapists for our mental health. And this is pretty much like we're therapists for intimacy. So why does society see it as a bad thing? I know that I help people. I know the value that I bring, and I'm proud of that. So yes, it's taken some time, but now I definitely feel good in my skin. I've learned so much about myself as well. This has been a great, self-growth journey. And I've been able to do so many things. I'm so grateful for this job. I am so grateful. Like, my life has changed for the better in so many ways. And yeah, it took a while to get here, but I am here. So went from the spectrum of 10 all the way to 0, baby.
Dude, congratulations. So, is there anything that you feel comfy talking about shame-wise? Like, going from a 10 to a 0 is huge. Did that take place before you entered this work? Like, tell us a little bit about your work, what you do, and your origin story. Like, how did you get there, especially, becoming a courtesan after starting out with a 10 on the shame-o-meter? Like, tell us a little bit about that unfolding for you.
So throughout my life, I actually personally never saw anything wrong with sex work. I was always curious about it, but I think the shame came from more of society rather than within, because growing up in a very conservative country where women would have to cover their shoulders and cover their knees, being sexually open was taboo and frowned upon. And that was kind of my surrounding at the time. But I was always curious about it. Like I said, I never thought that personally, I never thought that there was anything wrong with it. And then I came into this line of work out of curiosity, but also out of financial needs, unfortunately, at first. And so that's, I think, where where the shame was, I actually didn't really tell anybody about this job for a while, and it was kind of eating me up inside, and I was feeling really isolated. So I was at like the very bottom of the bottom, I think. But then I started working with a therapist who I'm still working with today. We meet weekly, and she's really, really helped change my mindset. But I think also just being immersed and over time with the clients that I get and receiving the feedback, and also all the experiences that I had, I started to realize that this job is really empowering. Like, I am in control of everything that I want to do. I'm able to travel as much as I want. I'm able to make my own schedule. I am able to take care of, family members that are in need. I just feel so independent and so good now. And like I said, my life is completely changed. I've been able to do so many things that I wouldn't have been able to do without this job. But yeah, that definitely took some time. And I think it just came through experience, actually, and being more immersed in the community. Because before I got into sex work, I actually didn't really know any sex workers. So
Yeah.
I just kind of thought about it. But then when I started at Sherry's, I was exposed to so many different beautiful women. And I feel like society has this view on sex workers that, we're either drug addicts or like daddy issues or mental illness or like whatever, all of these things. And when I came to this place, I see so many smart women that are, some can, in the medical field or in other fields where you would never really think that they would do something like this. But then I started thinking, you know what? This is actually pretty like business savvy. We're in control of ourselves. And on top of that, like as long as we're managing our money properly, I feel like this is a great stepping stone into wealth and kind of a little life hack. So yeah, my mind has changed a lot. But definitely, I think through experiencing, because I think all the shame came from the outside of what I thought like society thought and things like that. Yeah, being here, I'm surrounded by so many people that are so open to it, that respect it, and that helped as well. Hmm.
I love that so much. It is so funny to observe that there are these narratives of daddy issues, addiction, and mental health disorder. It's like, yes, and that's true literally in every profession, or in people who
Hmm.
don't work, or in people who, are really successful in all sorts of fields. And so I love you bringing that up. And I love hearing that community is part of what dissolved your shame-o-meter. And I've been thinking a lot more lately about community because I get an inordinate number of emails from people who are experiencing deep, deep loneliness. And what I hear in your sharing is that your work is actually deeply full of like really satisfying connection on a number of levels. And I know so many of the same ladies that you do. And that's so fucking fun and cool. And so I can't help but hear in your answer that it's almost like there was this duality, I don't know, like a shame duality where it's like you're a 10, you're a 0, and then the 10 starts to crumble away until it's all a 0. Does that feel accurate to your experience? Like, because it sounds like there were still moments of both. And did you go into the work with still like a higher feeling of shame on me? Because how did you get the independent, like, it really sounds like there's this core piece of you that always knew that physical intimacy and connection is like really special, even though all of the external messages you were getting were kind of opposite that. Like, how the fuck did that live inside? Like, what? How? That's
And
magic.
like I said, this has been a journey of like self discovery and learning more about myself as well.
Yeah.
And I think another thing was before I cared a lot about what other people thought, maybe from a place of, I don't know, seeking validation, or maybe from like not being confident or insecure, or whatever those reasons were. I cared a lot about what other people thought.
Okay.
And now I don't really care
Yeah.
what other people think
Fuck it.
anymore.
Great.
And now I think that's why, because like truly at my core, I don't see anything wrong with it. And when the shame was there, it was because I cared so much about society and what people thought of me. But now that I'm comfortable within my own skin, I realize like I don't care, if you can think whatever you want about me, I know I'm a good person. And if you don't agree with that, then you're not for me. There's so many other people
Yes.
in the world, and everybody can, you know, just accept people as they are and place them where they belong. Like if you don't want to accept me, then you're not for me, and that's it. Like I'm just gonna move on then.
Oh, I fucking love that. Okay. It seems a little bit already self-evident in your speech. However, I would like you to focus now and tell us, how do you think that your work helps people spread love and or woo themselves and or each other? Like how do you see your work in the world doing that?
So I think the first thing would be, feeling comfortable within your own skin is knowing who you are, and having that safe space to express yourself. So a lot of times, I think, in society, people feel like they're going to be judged. So they can't express themselves, or it's like, oh, this is how you're supposed to be, or
Or they are literally being judged in many cases. And you are totally right because people not only get worried about getting judged, they really do get judged. Like I was at the spa yesterday overhearing this group of women, and it was so funny because it was a big group, like maybe 7 ladies, and 2 of them were out there and they're like, blah blah blah, my sexy escapades. And I like wanted to be like, do you guys want to be a guest so bad, but it would have been creepy, so I didn't. I just watched creepily from the corner, and one of them saw me watching and I was like, yeah, I'm watching. Because 2 of them were like sharing sex stories with the group and being like, oh, I'm wild and crazy and now we're exclusive. And the other ladies were like, oh, we're boring and married. And as soon as the fun ones left, the boring married ones started talking shit, like straight up. And I was like, oh, so like their friends didn't know, but I was like, damn, like some people are so judgmental. So, okay, sorry, not to derail that. So, yes, you're right. Safe spaces are super important. Go on.
so I feel like I do create that safe space because I would say that I'm extremely non-judgmental. I like to, I don't care what background you are, what race you are, whatever your culture, traditions, whatever. I think we all have 2 eyes, one nose, one mouth, and one heart. We're all human, and our upbringing and our cultures, and they do shape us, but I didn't grow up with everybody, so maybe I don't understand your perspective, and that's okay. I'm not here to judge, but I feel like everybody needs somebody that is just letting them be themselves. And
Yeah.
once you let people express themselves and accept them and don't judge them, then they feel safe enough to really surrender and be vulnerable. And I feel like that's where the true intimacy comes. And also with the confidence and feeling, helping yourself and feeling better that way. Because if you don't know what you truly want, then you're going to kind of be confused all the time. So yeah, I feel like people coming here, I get a lot of clients telling me that I make them feel extremely comfortable. They usually come here like, sometimes really scared, shaking, nervous, sweating, but when they leave, they're like, wow, like, you're the only person that just made me feel like I can talk about like my fantasies, and you're not like, that's weird or whatever. Cause everybody has their own little fantasies and stuff like that. And like I said, who am I to judge? I wasn't in your situation growing up, or I don't know. Your reality shapes your perception. And so yeah, I didn't have the same reality as everybody else. So I'm just here to make you feel comfortable. And yeah.
Yeah. Also, I fucking love hearing other people's fantasies. It is very funny to me that like I attract largely pretty like sensual vanilla people, which like I am very sensual, but like I'm like, tell me the weird stuff. And they're like, oh, well, I'd like a blowjob. And I'm like, great, I'm good at that. Okay. But like, do you feel like people open up to you about like interesting fantasies a lot? And do you do anything specific to kind of invite that?
People do. I mean, I ask, I say, are there any fantasies that you have that you want, to be fulfilled that maybe, you haven't told anybody? And I always let them know like this is a safe space,
Yeah.
like no judgment. And I also think that they could tell probably by my behavior and my demeanor that I'm not lying, that it's coming like authentically and genuinely. So I would say, one fun fantasy that I seem to keep getting, which is I didn't it seems to be like a fetish, but like mermaid role play, and it's so much fun.
Tell us
I love
details.
being a
Like,
mermaid.
how do you be a mermaid? Do you wear stuff? Are you in a bathtub or the water or a shower? Like, what kinds of mermaidy things do you do? And like, Kaylani is not on screen, but can I describe your beauty?
Yes, go ahead.
Kaylani has beautiful mermaid curves and a jawline that makes you want to trace it with your finger. She has long mermaid hair and just like really beautiful, very, can I say that I've touched it, soft skin.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah.
And just like lovely full lips and eyes that you can disappear into. So I can see why people might like choose you for mermaid, like very definitely very mermaid curves. But do you wear a tail? Where do you go? Like tell us specifics.
Do I wear a tail? I absolutely have. Of course wear a tail. So I've had this party a couple times. So it's been different both times. The
Different
the
people
the
or
first
same
time,
people?
different people. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It seems to
I
be a
love it.
thing, and I don't advertise like that. This is what I do, but I seem to attract it. So
I love
you know,
that.
and it's fun.
Mermaid
Like
lover magnet.
anything that is new to me that I haven't done, I'm a very curious person. So
Same.
if somebody wants to explore something that is unique, I'm all about it. I'm like, I want to do it too. Like, I want to experience this. Like, I'm totally in for it. So the first time was he got me the outfit, the mermaid outfit, and he wanted me to reenact a scene from The Little Mermaid. And so I like memorized like the whole scene and pretty much had to act that out, like the damsel in distress and everything like
Love
that.
it.
And no, I didn't get into the water, but I
Okay.
was just doing this like on the bed, and
This
then he had to like
time.
pick me up and like yeah, just more like role playing. I didn't actually get into the swimming pool. That would be really
I
fun.
was gonna say,
I'm
but
totally down
maybe
to do
for the
that.
next one.
Yeah, maybe for the next one. Kaylani the mermaid. And yeah, I had another one recently, and that was a lot of fun too. And that was also, you know, I wore the outfit, and then we actually had some fun in my mermaid outfit because
Love
I
that.
guess his fantasy was he was a virgin, which is another one of my specialties as well. I love
Ooh.
virgins. But he, I guess, always wanted to lose his virginity to a mermaid. So,
Wow, that's so cool. Oh my God, that's so cool. Like literal sirens call. You're like, hello. Okay. Whoa.
yeah, so it's like I can definitely do that for you. Like this is
Wait,
awesome. So,
logistically, so sorry. Tell me if this is too specific of a detail. It's totally fine. But like logistically, how did it work? Like was there a hole? Like could you fuck through a tail? Like how do you make it happen?
so we had like there wasn't a hole, so we had to like actually like
Pull it down.
pull it down a little
Ooh,
bit, but I still kept the tail on.
that's so cool.
Um,
Oh my God, I
and
love
then yeah,
that.
a few different positions where the tail was still intact, but you know, the hole had to be available.
Yeah, yeah,
But
the
yeah, he
hole
was
has to be available.
totally into that. And then I had to, you know,
Love
like
that.
flop my stay in character, flapping the tail.
Yes. Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Also, like a challenge, like a physical challenge because it limits your mobility, and that's kind of like very hot.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of like statue role play where I'm like, fuck me alive, or like in one case I was a robot, not a statue, but same concept because that's like, sci-fi, etc. And I love that, but it's like there's something very hot about having just, within reason, an agreed upon restriction of movement. That's so cool. I love that you make people feel so comfortable to open up in that way and to explore things. Have you had the opportunity to like witness, your client lovers throughout the years who and see the changes in their lives? Like, I know that when I had a lover who held space for me to gain my own sexual confidence, my whole life changed. And so now I love to hold space for my lovers to then go and build their confidence because I see the literal ripple effect. Like, are you noticing that in the people that you continue to see as well?
Yes, absolutely. I do have one example. Like I love virgins. And so I had one come in and obviously, you know, he lost his virginity to me. And then about a year later, he came back and he was telling me how after that happened, like I completely changed his life because he was feeling like so, I guess, shamed or insecure or about being a virgin. And then
Yeah.
like after he lost his virginity and how I made him feel afterwards. I mean, he was like you know, he definitely knew what he was doing. I was like, "Are you sure you're a virgin?" And I wasn't just saying that. Like, um, yeah. And then I guess after that, he was like, "Wow, like, you know, now that I feel experienced and I know what I'm doing, I'm like out there and yeah, feeling good about myself." And I felt really good too that I could do that to somebody, you
Yeah.
know. And it's sometimes you just gotta make people see what you see in them, or see, you know, sometimes people don't see things that other people
Yes.
see in themselves, and
Yes.
if you just amplify that a little bit, make them believe in themselves, like show them the beautiful sides, you know, because sometimes we self sabotage so much in our own heads and we don't know like the beauty and the amazing things that we bring to the world. And if somebody just tells you that and shows you like, hey, like stop focusing on the little things, like focus on like the positive things and like change your mindset a little bit, then I think that that helps. And that's one thing that I really love about this job as well, is making people feel good about themselves. And yeah, like it's really nice.
I freaking love that so much. What do you love the most about doing this work?
Oh my God, there's so many things, but I would say that the number one thing is connecting with different types of people. I am a very curious person as it is, and I'm not in this, like, I realized over time, I was like, oh my God, like I think I was like born to do this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally get
I was like
it.
born. This is like
Wait, what made you
part of
think
me.
that though?
Because I love connecting with people. Like I genuinely care.
Yeah.
Like the clients that come in, like I
Yeah.
genuinely care about them and love connecting with them. I'm such a curious person. I think also with like psychology as well. And I wonder what, why people come here. There's so many different types of people. And like you can get, all different types of people from like the curious, let me tick it off my bucket list,
Yeah.
to the virgins, to the people that are here just trying to fill out a fantasy, to the people that are, just curious, what is the brothel like, to the couples that want to experiment, to the women that want to be with a woman but like haven't had the opportunity, to the married men, we get a lot of those as well. And to like the older men that just haven't had intimacy in a while. We get a range of people. And
Divorcees.
yeah, and on top of that, it's also like different professions of people come here as well, and I think it's really interesting to see like a man who, let's say, might be like a CEO in his real life, this powerful guy, but then when he comes here, there's a part of him that I'm able to see that I think nobody else does see, because in the real world, he's, so powerful and confident, but then he comes here and he sees a beautiful woman and he just starts shaking and he doesn't start sweating, and it's like you really see that everybody is truly human. And you get people in this space, like in their most vulnerable space, where I think this is one of those jobs where not a lot of people have access to anybody in this kind of space, and I love that I can see people in their like true form and their core, and I love like learning about people and just people in general. Why are you here? I mean, you don't have to tell me, whatever they want to share with me, they
Yeah,
can, but
yeah.
usually they do
Tell me
express
as
why
much as
why they are
possible.
here, why they're here. And most of the time I mean, I would say it's not just for sex, like you do get the people that come in, they're like, yeah, I just want to fuck. But others are mainly come in for like intimacy and wanting to feel close. And I've learned so much about relationships being here as well. And what makes, because I would say a lot of the men that do come in here are married, but they are coming here because they don't necessarily want to develop an emotional connection with another woman. They are just lacking the intimacy from their wife, but they love their wife very much, and there might be something just missing there. And so it's interesting to see the dynamic of like somebody being so in love with somebody but like needing that physical intimacy. Like as humans, I think we're always going to need that. And yeah, it's interesting to see that if you don't like provide that, then people might stray. It doesn't mean that they don't love you, but like,
Yeah.
so that was an interesting dynamic. It's changed seeing, all these people come in. It's changed my views on relationships as well and how I see relationships. So I think I love like the psychology, like just meeting different, just connecting with different types of people and understanding different types of people is what I love about it the most.
I love the fullness of that answer so much, and I connect with it so hard. Like you, I am so curious, like whether I'm here talking to a person on this podcast or like taking pictures of someone. Like I feel like I have the visual voyeur part of that curiosity as a photographer, and like what you said about just being, or yeah, or whether I'm with a lover in person and figuring out the tender parts and having that kind of like private space that's just for us to safely be ourselves together as we are in that moment. And I think that like there is like such a beauty in that intimacy that you create for people, and it goes back to what you were saying about just that authenticity and the power of being witnessed. I'm curious, did you have a partner that like created that for you? Like how did you learn how to create this for other people? Because it sounds like you're really masterful at doing it.
Wow. So I think, so I've had some pretty toxic relationships in like the early stages of my life. And I think those were a little bit traumatizing. And over time, I would date different types of partners because I always thought that the reason why the relationship was unhealthy was because of the partner. And so I would switch to the type of men that I would date because I would think, it was that type. But then over years, I haven't been in a relationship in like 3 years, but in the past, like my last relationship, it made me realize that it's not actually the partner, it's me. Like
Yeah,
there's a pattern and it's me.
totally. And it's both. It's both. It's you and them doing the pattern opposite sides together, or whatever, like integrating. Fully feel that.
Right, but then I realized that like, oh wow, there's so much work that I need to do within
Yeah.
myself
Yeah.
before I can like have a healthy relationship, because people say you have to love yourself before you love others and things like that. And so I have been focusing on like doing the work with myself,
Yes.
and I think that's what I realized. And now the reason why I'm not in a relationship now is because my standards are high. I'm
Yes.
like, I am not going to let like I know what I want now, and I love myself, and I'm happy with being alone actually. So until I enjoy somebody's company more than I enjoy my own company,
Yeah.
then maybe. But also, yeah, I think I realized through being in toxic relationships what doesn't work and how, like, what not to do, right? And then
Yes.
working on myself and doing different things to work on myself and feeling good about myself. Now the friendships that I do have, and like the other close relationships that I have, I nurture them very well, and I see these things. And I think also being exposed to different people and hearing their relationship stories, I've been able to kind of piece together what works and what doesn't, and what makes a successful relationship. And I think the number one thing with that is communication.
Yeah.
I think it starts with just being able to be open and expressing yourself and saying what you want and what you need. But, that comes from having people won't communicate honestly if you don't give them a safe space.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's why I think I've realized all of that. And so that's how I'm able to give it, because I've like, started from the bottom, now I'm here.
Totally. Yeah, you've gone through the gauntlet, including the shame-o-meter and the communication-onometer and all of it. And like, I mean, and that's such a good point, right? Like, it's one thing for me to develop the emotional awareness, the willingness to look at all of my patterns and then to try to put that into words and then to be willing to share it with another person, which can be very vulnerable in any context. And choosing a partner who is willing to receive and participate in that practice. Like that's all it. And I think that's one of the coolest things about the learning containers that sex work can be across any medium, right? Whether it's like online chatting or in-person work or any other sort of it's sort of like a framework where there's at least the opportunity to create deeper intimacy and practice those relational skills. There's also, addictive and dissociative ways to use pretty much anything in this whole wide world, but I think that it sounds like you're doing the highest level of that work on all fronts. And I would love to hear, okay, you said you grew up in a conservative country. Did you get a sex ed or sex talk or anything like that? Or like, how did you yourself, was it all through trial and error that you learned about sex and relationships?
So I moved around a lot. So like I went from the US to like a conservative country in Asia, and back and forth between the two. It would be like 3 years here, 3 years there, a couple years here, a couple years there, back and forth between the two. And so it was like very confusing because like in Vegas, it's like the sex capital of the US, I
Yeah.
think. And it's just
Yeah.
out there, it's like
Yeah.
boom, like it's everywhere. And then where I grew up, it wasn't. And then also I was like being exposed to it and then like seeing the other side, like back and forth so many times. So I think like I got sex ed when I was in the States. Like
Okay.
yeah, but when I was back in where the other country, um yeah, was I don't even know if there was sex ed. I think there was because I went to an American school, but yeah, like, I don't remember taking sex ed there. So, how did I get exposed? I think it was just, like, in my surroundings, like,
Okay.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
seeing it in Vegas and stuff like that, yeah. And I was always kind of just, like, a very, like, I don't know, not like a this might sound a little weird, but I think it was just I don't know where this like how this came from, but I think I've always kind of just I don't know, like it's hard to explain, but I've always been like pretty boy crazy from like a young age.
Yes.
I don't know like where it came from. I think
Yeah.
like just naturally it was just there.
Inner
Maybe
knowing.
it's just in me, like I said, I was born to do this.
Same. I do. I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Do you feel like you had an adult you could ask sex questions to, or were you really just like in your zone, like Vegas and across the world? Like how did the or friends even to talk to?
No, I didn't really have any adults to talk to. I would say that like my parents never like had these conversations with me or told me
Yeah.
any of these things, but they are my parents are like, they actually are pretty open-minded with all of this stuff. So it didn't come from like home, but we never really talked about it. And I think like in my teenage years, all my friends and I were like quite promiscuous. So I could talk to it about my friends, but like an adult, I don't think like growing up there was an adult that made me feel comfortable enough to talk about these things or like kind of guided me through it. It kind of just yeah, I don't yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Man, okay. I would love to hear just some of your favorite things about sex and or the work that you've experienced. So we heard a little bit about mermaiding. We kind of got teased a little bit about like, two girls and virgins and other things that you've experienced, but like what are the things that just light you up?
Well, speaking of two girls, that's one thing that I find really fun here as well because I like one of my fantasies, my one of my like I've had this fantasy for a long time. Well, now it's already happened. So yes, it happened here. But like I think even, when I even started watching porn, I would only watch lesbian porn. Like that's the only
Okay.
thing that I'm interested in. Even
Oh,
though that like I'm straight or like, I love playing with women. I think women are so sexy. They really turn me on, love their bodies, but when it's like romantically, yeah, I've tried going on like dates with women, but for some reason it doesn't click like that, and that's totally fine. But yeah, women definitely turn me on sexually, and like I said, I only watch lesbian porn, and I had this fantasy to, like, for the longest time to have like my own like lesbian porn,
yes.
and and I actually fulfilled that fantasy here, like my own little private lesbian porn. But that was really fun. And then also, yeah, being able to have fun with girls, in that kind of way, and not have them, and knowing that it's not going to turn romantic, because I think in like I don't know in the outside. In the real world, outside world, like maybe I wouldn't want to lead a woman on by like doing certain things and them not be on the same, wavelength as me. But here at least I know that okay, this is all fun and like nobody's gonna fall in love with each other. And I've been able to have yeah, a lot of fun experiences with women, Luna being
Yes.
one of them. We have so much
We've had
fun
some fun.
together.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when I saw in your thing that you wrote straight, I was like, really? I was like, based on our experience, okay.
Yeah, so hetero-flexible is what you said,
Yeah,
so I guess maybe that's a better way to describe myself,
I love that.
yeah, or maybe yeah, so because I think I'll always be sexually attracted to women, like, that's
Yeah,
always gonna be there, and you know what? I don't even know if there's, like I think everybody is kind of a little gay, right? Like, it's
I
just like,
think
how gay are
so.
you? Like, it's
I
just like the spectrum.
Okay, I never want to erase straight people, and I've met many straight people who are like, "No, I'm really just straight," and I believe their reality, and I always have space for the next level of their reality to expand, because I too thought I was straight for a very long time, and I just had some things that had to unlock at their own pace. So, I want to make space for everyone's experience, but I do think that yes, everyone's got a little streak of queer if they're willing to explore it.
Yeah, you just have to be exposed to it. You just have to like put yourself in the situation and then boom, here it is.
Dude, yeah, and sometimes it's the right person, it's the right moment, it's the right whatever, and there's an unfolding, so who knows? Have you been with
Mhm.
multiple ladies at the same time? Like, is that something you're interested in?
That is my other fantasy.
Ooh,
Another fantasy that I have is like an all girl orgy. Like I would love that. I think
I
that
would
is just
too.
like so. Oh my god. Okay, hopefully we can make this happen. But yeah, I that's just I don't. It turns me on. The most women that I've been with at once, unfortunately, is just one. But I'm so open to more.
Unfortunately, only one so far. I recently had my
Um,
first three ladies total, three ladies, one dude. And that was very, very fun. And also I'm like,
Ooh.
dang it, I need more time. I need more practice because there's so many other configurations we could do, but I wasn't really prepared. It was not exactly sprung on me, but it was like more surprising. So I didn't get to like study up on different configurations. And it was, again, fine. It flowed quite naturally, but I'm like, damn, what an opportunity. So I've started to think through
Yeah, I
stuff
feel like
like
so
that.
much stimulation, even thinking about it. I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah. I
yeah.
love that. Yeah, what else have you
Mm,
experienced that you loved or want
mm.
more of? Like, I know you like to take time with people. Is it like a mixture of touch and talk? And like what does going deep with you look like?
So for me to get turned on, I need to be turned on mentally first. Like intellect, conversation, like that's what works for me. So when usually with like my GFEs or like one-on-one, I really do like to get to know the person and kind of not pick their brain, whatever they're comfortable with, but like get to know them on a level before we get intimate, because like that's what turns me on. With the parties that I get here with, like two girl parties, those I don't know, I just like really sexy to me. I just love being around like sexy women, and that just turns me on so much. And yeah, thank you to all the clients that I've had that have booked two girls with
So
me.
good.
Thank you so much. It's been great. So I really love like the mental stimulation. I feel like that's like the first thing. And with that, I've realized like the information that am getting from clients or exchanging, I've actually learned a lot of things, you know.
Yes.
One of my clients was a financial advisor, and I seriously think like he has changed my life
Amazing.
with the tips and
Amazing.
everything that he shared with me, you know. And so
Good boy.
there's so many things that I've learned from the clients coming in here. Like I teach a lot of things, but at the same time, I'm open to learn about many different things, and I think that comes from like a genuine space about like really caring about what they have to say and making them feel seen and heard. And sometimes people just want to, share what they know, and like this also helps build confidence, And I'm all about listening and opening up my own mind and giving people that space to share what they're good at and whatever they want to do. So yeah.
I love that so much. I think it is always so funny when I encounter a dude in particular who's like, I'm so sorry, I'm mansplaining. And I'm like, you cannot mansplain me because I'm too busy asking questions. And also, if you tell me something I already know, I will fast forward you. I'll be like, no, 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 this is what I'm trying to get at, you know? And so I'm really good about that. But I would like to hear also about what you love to teach people about sex. And I would love to hear an answer for kind of like, how and what you teach people who you are initiating. You mentioned a little bit about virgins, but then I would also love to hear
Mm.
just more broadly, what are some of the things that you find yourself helping people understand over and over again?
Well, one thing is that for women, it takes us a while. Like foreplay is super, super important. And I think sometimes men don't get that. They're just like, oh, okay, like let's just do it. And that's not how like our bodies work. Like women need time, we need a little bit of a tease or a crave to really get the juices flowing. So I always, with all my virgins, I always let them know that like, hey, take your time with a woman, and every woman is different, and there's multiple ways to orgasm, and so I'll usually go over like how a woman can orgasm, how to give them an orgasm. In my virgin parties, I'll even let them like, it's more of like a lesson. I'm like,
Tutorial. I
okay, so
love
this is
it.
how
Yep.
like this is how you can make a woman come, and like you could practice on me and like move your body this way, move your body that way, da da da. And I think that really helps them build confidence as well, because they're like, oh, okay, I'm not just like coming in and like losing it. Like it's like actually like, oh, like she's helping me, like where else do you
Yes.
get like a full like live experience like
The best sex
training,
ed ever. Yeah.
yeah. So I also, yeah, also let them know that communication, like I always like to keep it open and like make sure that everybody's comfortable. So like checking in and then seeing what they want, and boundaries, like always discussing this as well. But yeah, I think like just I love to, when people come in, I think I want them to feel good about themselves, but also feel like they know what they're doing. And it's also like I'll guide as well. If they don't know what they're doing, I'll guide them, and so they feel comfortable. But if a man like knows, if he's experienced, then usually like I'll let him kind of like do whatever. But and then he knows what he's doing, and it's just fun for the both of us.
Ugh, I love that
Yeah.
so much. Okay, what are your favorite ways to be communicated with when it comes to like tender talk or sexy things? Like, do you like explicit communication, direct communication? Like, how do you invite people to speak openly with you? It seems like you're really good at it.
Uh, Definitely direct. I feel like just say it as it is. Because, people say that like actions speak louder than words, but sometimes, actions can mean different things in different places. Like it's a certain action can mean something in a different country. So
Yeah,
that's why communication is important. You have to say what you mean. You have to
totally.
understand. And so I think direct is just like the best way. I mean, not like blunt, like da 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 da, but just saying it as it is. And also not coming from a place of judgment, but and also coming from a place of compassion. I think kindness and openness and
Curiosity.
curiosity.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And also, my brain is still kind of like filtering what you said a few clicks back about, you know, taking time to communicate and connect before diving into the physical. And I'm like
Uh-huh.
mildly giggling because I am a person that has more than once, many times in the past, kind of made the mistake of like trying to get to know someone while in the midst of fucking them, like asking them like all kinds of questions like while we're fucking. And so like learning to split that up is very good. But I also like the back and forth. I'm a touch first person, but I also like the talking. So separating that is really good.
Okay. So I was also very similar to that. Like, I mean, out of this line of work, like in my real life, I used to, if I was like sexually attracted to somebody or anything, like boom, right away, like let's do this. And then I would just automatically be so infatuated by them that I would like
Mm.
jump into a relationship and like I don't even know who they are. I don't even I mean, like I do, but like I don't. Like I don't
Yeah.
know their values, I don't know their interests, I don't know how they are as a person. I just like automatically jumped in, and then by the time that the red flag, like I don't see the red flags 'cause I'm blinded by like all the lust and then
The chemicals.
and everything, and
Too
then
many
by
neurochemicals
and then
swimming
by the
around.
time I realize like, oh shit, like this is like not a good person to be with, I'm already too invested, my emotions are already there.
Mm.
And so that's something that I've learned to not do anymore, is to try to know a person before I jump in completely. Because yeah, if you just jump in, sometimes you're not seeing straight, and you can end up in a bad situation over time. A good way, I think, is always taking your time, getting to know the person. Is this the right person for me? Do I feel comfortable? Because like, once you feel comfortable, then I feel like you can really, like I said, get deeper and really surrender and be with the right person. And yeah, so I know this about myself. So I try to give people that space when they come here too, to be able to feel comfortable with me. Because like, maybe I'm not for everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I want them to know, like, if they come in and then they feel like I'm not their vibe, like, that's totally fine. I'm not here to convince you. Like, if I'm not for you, I'm not for you. And hope maybe there's somebody, I'm sure there's somebody else here that is more your vibe. And I don't care. Like, you can, like, I want everybody to feel comfortable when they come here, and I don't want to force anybody into anything. Like, that's not me. um,
Totally.
so yeah, it's all about being comfortable. And I think if I let people feel like they can get to know me and like feel comfortable with me, then then they start to open up and feel good. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I love that so much. One of the things that I have heard people, potential clients say to me is that they are concerned that a sex work style relationship is transactional. However, after speaking to you a little bit, I think we have an abundance of evidence that like while there may be a container that is really clear that includes a budget and finances, it really is about having a connection. And now here's the part of the question where I'm totally projecting, but like is it hot for you to have your lovers literally invest in your life, like, in the way that, like, they're like, "Hey, I really, really value you." Like, is that a part of the work that is fun for you?
Mhm. Absolutely. I mean, a lot of my clients tell me that it doesn't feel transactional at all with me. I mean, obviously, like, we have to talk about that first, but then
Yeah.
once that's done and over with, I'm not like about the money. I think, I mean, you know what I mean?
All
Like,
of it.
uh,
I just
yeah.
think it's
And I
so hot
love,
to have a lover be like, don't want to wife you up, do want to make sure you're taken care of. Like that to me is one of the hottest things in the world. I'm like, wait,
Ugh.
freedom and support of all of my creative and life goals? Thank you, more, please.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that's the best.
And like for me, it's such a stark contrast where I am clearly valued in a way that in casual dating never existed. Never. Like not even a date, you know?
Yeah, and it's like the clients that do come in here, they see value, and that's why they give you, the money that they do, they don't feel, at least the ones that I have don't feel uncomfortable about it because they see the value that I bring. They feel good. I feel good. Like we're all feeling good together. And like I said, they've changed my life in so many ways. Thank you to all of you guys who are listening.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys so much.
Yeah. I also feel like when people show up prepared to invest in their own pleasure that much, I see them showing up differently for the whole experience and valuing it more. And then, like, they're able to take away more from it. I don't know if you have that experience too.
Yeah, absolutely. Like men that come in and like know what they want, know why they're here, and respect you for everybody comes in here respectfully, by the way. I haven't gotten any weirdos. I think it being legal like kind of filters out the weirdos. Um but yeah, I do find that really sexy in a man. I mean, a man that knows what he wants and isn't afraid to take care of a woman, or care about like what society thinks, like that is super super sexy to me.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you take care of yourself when you are at the ranch working and or between your tours? What sort of self-love do you like to practice?
At the ranch, like I'm here for usually like a month at a time because I fly in internationally. So I stay as long as I can, and so it can get tough because we can't really like leave, and back home I work out like 6 days a week. I'm like really all about my fitness and taking care of myself and eating healthy and all of these things. And then I come here and I kind of like lose my groove a little bit. But I've been able to like make my little routine, and I love to like wake up early in the morning. I do like affirmations every morning. I try to meditate, I journal, and I'll practice yoga in my own space
Yeah.
before I go and present myself into the real or into the brothel life.
Yeah.
Because I need to like make sure I'm all good, in every way, inside and out before I go out. But I've been doing that pretty regularly. Actually, this tour, I'm really proud of myself because I've been able to keep like a good routine in the mornings. I'm night shift. Usually, I go like it doesn't really matter what shift I am. But whichever shift I start with at the beginning of the week, I want to keep that throughout the rest of my tour. That way, it's not like upside down feeling. And so this tour I've been night shift, and I've kept everything in the morning like for me, and just being able to wake up and do my morning routine. Like I have this morning routine that I do back home too, which is like waking up early, meditating, journaling, and then practicing yoga. That's just in my routine, and I've been able to bring it over here too, which is great. And that helps me tremendously, I think. And yeah, I also we have so much downtime here, right? And so I'm trying to like learn different skills while I'm here, trying to maximize
Yes.
like the my time as best as I can, because like besides like me seeing clients and stuff, I don't want to just be lazy. Like I want to do something with my time. I want to make it more valuable. So I'm trying to like I'm studying a different language while I'm here right now as well, trying to practice that. And I was looking at maybe like some courses. I haven't signed up for anything yet, but I'm all about self development, and I feel like this is a great place to like work, like learn different skills because we have so much downtime. So yeah, I'm looking at different courses I could possibly take while I'm here as well, but I haven't started any of this tour yet.
I love that. I love learning in the background, whether I'm on set, on a tour, whatever I'm doing. Like I mean, the dopamine that we create with the curiosity that fuels our learning is a positive upward spiral, which serves our creativity spiral, which is the same part of us that like, original creation is our like sex selves, according to me. But I feel like it all informs itself. Getting that dopamine system online is what creates desire to continue to learn and expand and grow ourselves. And it sounds like you are doing really awesome versions of that. Do you have like hopes for the future, like dreams of a specific type of party, or even just things you want to learn in general for life, but like, thinking about like future possibilities that turn you on, like what comes to mind for your erotic and or creative bucket list?
Yes, yes, yes. I do have a couple inspirations or goals, I guess you could say. So sex work, like I said, has changed my life in so many ways, in positive ways. But I don't see myself doing this type of sex work forever. I have I've been here for 3 years, and I told myself like I have a 5-year plan. So like 2 more years is what I'm comfortable with. I think I've been pretty smart with my ambitions and my goals and like with the money that I've made here. And I haven't just blew it, like I know what I'm doing with it. So I've been trying to figure out what I want to do when I get out of here and how to transition out. And I realized actually just recently, and I think this came from like, the shameometer going to zero and actually seeing like the value of my work, that I actually do want to stay in this industry, but not necessarily like working how I am today. Because I feel like right now, this is kind of just like a stepping stone for me to gain experience and to gain skills. But I do want to, I think, transition into later, hopefully, help other women in the adult industry feel good about themselves, get rid of that shame, and to, like I said, use their sexual energy as and like leverage their sexual energy and power, because hey, like we got some power here with our sexual energy into financial freedom. Another thing is because I want to use, what I've learned from this job, because I feel like we do have a lot of hands-on experience that psychologists or other relationship experts, they're all theory,
Yeah,
but we actually are living in this. So I think that our experience is extremely valuable. And so, with that being said, and being exposed to so many different people and them telling me their relationship stories, I feel like I kind of know what, makes people stray. And to help maybe couples or single people develop or help their close relationships. So, possibly going into more like intimacy coaching, or, yeah, like helping women in the self industry, like empower themselves, and also like some wealth management, possibly.
yeah. I mean, it's also integrated,
Yeah.
right? Like our personal empowerment as a human being, our interpersonal deepest connections, and our personal, financial wealth and wellness. It's like it's all so related
Mhm.
to our healthy self-esteem, worth, confidence, and it sounds like you're doing a really good job of supporting people in those ways. I fucking love that. Okay, so you're totally not responsible for single-handedly answering this question. It's a group brainstorm, and how do you think that we collectively, all together, can co-create a more loving, woo-filled world?
Well, I think all of that starts with acceptance and compassion, and I think like us, majority of us, I would say all of us actually, are very non-judgmental. We give people
Yes.
that space to feel accepted. And so once you feel accepted and like, yeah, then the compassion. So I think as long as you flow or move in the world in the way of acceptance and compassion, I think that just gives so much love like everywhere. If everybody just navigated that way, I think the world would be a way more loving place.
Totally. And I think you've given us a lot of good examples, but if you had to sum it up, how do you like to spread ripples of love?
I don't know where this comes from, but I'm very bubbly and I'm very happy. And I think I don't know how I can keep this like positive demeanor. I'm a very like bubbly person, even with myself. Like I don't like to be, even when I'm alone, if I'm feeling like, everybody, I'm human, so there's days where I feel sad, but like I don't feel sad for long. I'm like, I don't want to feel this way anymore. Like I am in control of my own happiness, right? And nobody wants to be around a Debbie Downer. So I think one way that I share love is just being very like positive and warm and bubbly and accepting. And people seem to gravitate to me for that reason. I think of how warm I am. Like my therapist was telling me that I'm like a light.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
people are just like, oh. So I think it's, yeah, like that's how I carry myself is warm, positive, loving, and yeah, that's how I flow. So that's how I show my love. Mhm.
That's fucking beautiful. And thank you for sharing your sweetness and your love with us today on Pod. Sweet listener lovers, you can find Kaylani on the internet at x.com/xoxo Kaylani. The link is in the description below. My sweet darling, thank you so much for joining me to share your stories.
Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait until we work together again.
Lovely woo humans, that is our show. Remember to follow your hearts and follow your parts and follow me in family-friendly internet places at Lunar Woohoo, or if you're in naughty internet places, at Lunar Secrets. Visit howtowoo.fyi for links to everything. You can support our awesome show on Patreon for early ad-free episodes. You can worship me virtually on OnlyFans or Sextpanther, or we can work together in person in a number of excellent creative capacities. You can also ask a question, share a story, or apply to be a guest at howtowoo.fyi if you want to be on the show. And tell a friend to help us grow. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and let me know how you're spreading ripples of love.